Hi everyone, this is Aman Sophia, Assistant Professor in Triple Department. Welcome to WITS Connect. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the different types of damping tasks produced in indicating instruments. Coming to the indicating instruments, the instruments which consisting of a pointer and scale to the moving system is known as indicating instruments. So to perform a satisfactory operation, it requires three types of tasks. So those three types of torques are deflecting torque, controlling torque and damping torque. So the deflecting torque will makes the pointer to move from its initial position, and controlling torque is nothing but which makes the pointer to show a particular reading, and damping torque will makes the pointer to bring the pointer to its rest position is known as damping torque. The torque which brings the pointer to its rest position very quickly is known as damping torque. Once the operation is completed means the pointer has to come to its rest position. Otherwise, due to the inertia of the moving system, the pointer will oscillate about its final deflection position. So due to its oscillation, so the damping system can be classified into three types like under damping, critically damping and over damping. Based on the degree of damping of the moving system, the damping system is classified into three types: under damping, critically damping and over damping. See, if the instrument is underdamped, and the pointer will oscillate about its final position for some time, and then it comes to the rest position. You can see in the figure, during underdamped condition, the pointer is making some oscillations, and after some time it is coming to the steady position. Steady position nothing but rest position. So this type of damping is known as under damping. If the system is over damped, the pointer will become slow and comes to rest position by taking some long time. That is known as over damping. Next one is of critically damping. So in critically damping, the pointer will comes to rest position very quickly. So that damping is known as critically damped. If the degree of damping is adjusted to a value which is sufficient to enable the pointer to rise quickly to its deflecting position without oscillation is known as critically damped. During the critically damped, it is not making any oscillations. Within a span of time, it is coming to its steady position. So that damping is known as critically damped. During under damping, the pointer is taking number of oscillations to come to the rest position or steady state position. Whereas in over damping system, the pointer is coming to the rest position by taking some lengthy time. Whereas in critically damping system, the pointer is coming to its rest position within a span of few seconds without making any oscillation. So that damping is known as critically damping. So basically there are three types of damping tasks are used in measuring instruments. That's first one is air friction damping, fluid friction damping and eddy current damping. Based on the damping tasks, it is classified into three types like air friction, fluid friction and eddy current damping. First of all, we are going with the air friction damping. Coming to its construction, it consisting of a spindle. To the spindle we are connecting a pointer which shows the readings on the dial, and to the other end we are connecting a air chamber which consisting of a piston. This piston is made up of light aluminium which is attached to the moving system, and the piston moves in the fixed air chamber which is closed at the one end, and the clearance between the piston and chamber walls is uniform. This is about its construction. It consisting of a spindle at one end of to the spindle we are connecting a pointer which shows the readings on the dial, and to the spindle we are connecting a piston rod which is made up of light aluminum, which is inserted in the air chamber. The piston moves in the fixed air chamber. Coming to its working principle, the piston moves in the fixed air chamber which is closed at one end, and the clearance between the piston and chamber walls is very uniform. When the pointer starts its oscillation, the piston will move into and out of an air chamber. When the pointer is starting its deflection, the piston rod will move into and out of the air chamber. When the piston moves into the chamber, the air inside the air chamber is compressed, and the pressure of air will builds up, so which causes the opposing motion to the piston and is producing the damping torque which is giving to the moving system. So by this damping, the pointer will comes to rest position. And when the piston moves out of the air chamber, the pressure in the closed space will falls, and the pressure on the open side of the piston is greater than of the other side, so which is causing the opposing motion. So in this way, the damping is provided to the moving system. So with this damping, the pointer will comes to rest position. This is about air friction damping. Coming to the fluid friction damping. In fluid friction damping is same as air friction damping. At here, oil is used in place of air due to its greater viscosity of oil. As oil is having greater viscosity, that's the reason we are using oil over here. And this damping is more effective than that of the air friction damping. At here we are using discs or vanes which are attached to the spindle of the moving system. These vanes are kept immersed in a pot containing oil. You can see the figure here. So it consisting of a pot in which oil is immersed. In this oil vanes are attached to the spindle. When the pointer to the spindle rod we are attaching the pointer. When the pointer moves, friction between oils and vanes opposes the motion of the pointer, so which is causing or which is producing the damping which is necessary to the pointer. So with this damping, the pointer will comes to rest position. This is about fluid friction damping. When the pointer starts oscillation, the vanes which are immersed in the oil will produce the opposite motion of the pointer. So with this opposite motion, damping is produced, and with this damping, pointer will comes to rest position. Coming to this method is not suitable for portable instruments. Why? Because as it is consisting of oil. Because of the oil, this instrument is not used for portable instruments. The next classification is eddy current damping. So coming to its construction, it consisting of a spindle rod. To the spindle rod, one disc is attached, and we are using one hairspring for the controlling torque, and to the spindle we are connecting a pointer which shows the reading on the scale, and the disc is placed in between the damping magnet. So this damping magnet will produce the magnetic flux. This is about its construction. This method of damping is most effective and efficient than of air friction damping and fluid friction damping, and it consisting of a thin disc of and this disc is conducting but not magnetic material like copper or aluminum, which is mounted on the spindle. And the disc is when the pointer starts its rotation, the disc will start its rotation. So when the disc starts rotation, it cuts the magnetic flux produced between the permanent magnet. When the disc cuts the magnetic flux of the permanent magnet, it produces the eddy current. This eddy current will produce the damping force in a such a way that which opposes the cause of producing. So nothing but it's according to the Lenz law. When the pointer starts its movement, the disc will start rotating between the magnetic flux. So as it is rotating, it cuts the magnetic flux produced between the damping magnet. When it cuts the magnetic flux, it is producing eddy current, which produce the damping force. And this force is produced in a such a way that which opposes the cause of producing. So this is according to the Lenz law. The eddy current produced by the moment of a disc provided a counter torque which gives the effective damping. This is about the eddy current damping. First of all, magnetic disc will cut the magnetic flux produced by the permanent magnet, which producing the damping torque. So with this damping torque, the pointer will comes to rest position. Coming to the advantages of eddy current damping, it is most efficient form of damping, and it can be used in permanent magnet moving coil instruments. So the mostly preferable damping system is eddy current damping. So it can be used in moving coil system as well as induction type instruments. Errors are mainly classified into three types, like gross errors, systematic error, random error. Random errors also can be known as accidental errors. Gross error. This class of error mainly caused by human made mistakes in reading instruments, recording and calculating measurement results. So the mistakes caused by the human is known as gross errors. For examples, an operator may take the voltage reading as 100 volts instead of 110 volts. So this type of error is known as gross errors, and it can be minimized by taking a great care in reading and recording the data, and by taking 2, 3 or even more number of readings for the quantity under measurements. So by this method, this type of errors can be reduced. The next error is systematic errors. The error caused by the misuse of instruments is known as systematic errors. Misuse of instruments or mechanical structure and operation of the instrument and parallax errors all are comes under systematic errors, and these errors can be classified into three types, like instrumental errors, constructional errors, environmental errors. Construction errors, environmental errors and observational errors are comes under systematic error. Next one is random errors. Some errors remain even after the correction, which have been made for all systematic errors, are known as random errors. These errors are occurred due to the noise and fatigue in the working persons. This is of random errors. So let us have some look on the basic definitions in measuring instruments. The first one is accuracy. Accuracy nothing but it is a closeness with which an instrument reading approaches the true value of the quantity being measured is known as accuracy. And it can be defined as the difference between the indicated value and the actual value is known as accuracy. The measurement with 100% accuracy is not possible in any instrument. So a measurement with error is impossible. The best way to specify the terms in the term of the true value of the quantity being measured is by taking the values with plus or minus sign. And accuracy depends on several parameters like hysteresis, linearity and sensitivity of the instrument. Next one is precision. The term precise means clearly or sharply. Precision is defined as the deviation of the measured value from the true value is known as precision. For example, a thermometer does not give 100% accurate value of the temperature, but whenever the same temperature is measured, it gives the same reading. So the thermometer is said to be a precision, and thermometer through it is not the perfectly accurate. This is the best example for precision. The next one is sensitivity. Sensitivity is defined as the ratio of change in output to the change in input, and it also can be defined as ratio of magnitude of output response to the magnitude of input response. So if we consider two curves, linear and non-linear curves, in linear curves the sensitivity is constant, whereas in non-linear curves the sensitivity is different at different points being measured. The next one is resolution. Resolution is defined as the minimum input increment that gives definite numerical change in output is known as resolution. Resolution is the ability of measurement system to detect and indicate small change in the characteristics known as resolution. The next one is error, which is defined as the difference between measured and the true value of the quantity is known as error. The error is measured in a mathematical way to show the uncertainty in the measurements.